G'day, mate. Here we are. Here we are. Where are we? Where are you? So, um, just came to me today to kind of tackle this topic of being here now. A lot of my talks this last little while, I mean, they're all mostly about recovery and addiction and alcoholism and what is that about, the spiritual malady. you know it's even interesting that we call it spiritual when Eckhart Tolle nailed it so well when he said the power of now. How do we be here now? And it seems that we're so interested in fixing ourselves, doing therapy and which is all in the mind. And what if, peace? What if serenity? What if, the absolute knowingness is in the moment, and that we don't actually have to fix anything or change anything. We just living in the moment, becoming present, allows us to see the totality of things. We recognize that our thinking is all from our conditioning, and our thinking is all from our belief systems. And I don't know about your thinking, but mine, when I'm in my head, is often in complaint. It can easily be in complaint. And something's missing. I want something, or I'm feeling sad, or I'm feeling, because that's where my head goes. And recently that's come up for me some. And so as I've gone into it, and I was listening to actually my friend Paul Lowe the other day, and he was saying, be here now. And and then he actually explained the process. And I'm just going to do this with you for a second, because he helped me again to become more aware in this moment, and through consciously being in the body, in this moment, in this conversation, and he gave an example of going to the kitchen, making a decision. Okay, I'm going to go to the kitchen, and to actually be with the process of getting up. Okay, I'm getting up. Be with each step. See, what happens for us is the thought comes, I'm going to go to the kitchen. And we start off towards the kitchen, and we're already in our mind with something else. We're not even present. We're down the stairs, into the kitchen, and then we're like, oh, okay, what am I doing here? And so we're not present, and we're in our heads thinking, and in a fantasy, if you will. So attempt to actually do something, a task where you're totally present. So you into the kitchen, and you get the kettle, and you're with the picking it up, and you're with the filling it with water. You're there 100% as the water fills up the kettle, and you set it on the stove or plug it in, whatever it is, and you're really there. As the water starts to heat, you get a cup down or a teapot down, and you get out a tea bag, and you're really there in the action. Practice that, uh, being really there, and watch how quickly the mind will take us into a story about whatever, and out of the moment. And the mind, in my experience, is never quite satisfied. It's always, wanting the more, or thinking that something is wrong, and so that's why I call it the crazy mind. And some people get offended when I say, well, that we all have the crazy mind, and that there's never any peace there. It's always in complaint. It's always in judgment. So how do we not be in the mind? Because when we're in the mind, we're not here. We're really not here. Hardly anybody is here. right? We're off in some fantasy of calamity, or some fantasy of ecstasy, or something really amazingly good or something really amazingly bad, because we're always judging good and bad. And so we're not here. And for the alcoholic and the addict, who are often in resentment, bastard did this or did that, or we're in judgment of ourselves, and so it's kind of miserable. It's a being in the mind and not even knowing it. We think we're here, but we're not. So this is the exercise. Everything is bring yourself back to the moment. If you're having a pee, be in that moment there and experience it. Today I went for a walk in the woods. It was amazing. But the process to actually be in my feet and be right where I was, it's an expansive. It really is an expansive. It's like, oh my gosh. It's like, oh, an amazing um, experience to be present. So that practice of being present, we start to see that, that our thoughts are, you know, there, and we don't fight with them. We just become aware of them, and then as soon as we're aware of them, boom, we're back in the present. As soon as we're aware of them, we're back in the present. And the same with meditation. We're going to meditate in a few minutes, and when we meditate, it's we drop into this moment, into the body, into the breath, and we bring our focus into this moment. We're here, and then thought will take us. So wherever we're sitting, we're not really there. We're off in some, adventure of the mind, whether it's a you know, positive adventure or negative adventure. It doesn't matter. We're not here. But what happens? The possibility is that we realize that life is totally for us. As a matter of fact, there isn't even any us. we we disappear because we're just a story. Who do you think you are? Are we, when you look at it, I mean, everything's transient, everything's moving. The story of who we think we are today is not who we thought we were a year ago or even yesterday, or who we think we are tomorrow. So it's always transient, it's always moving. But who we are is beyond the story. And what's beyond the story is a sense of emptiness or stillness or oneness, of bliss, if you will. And in that is peace. In that is knowingness that everything is for us. There's never anything against us. That we were here before the body, we'll be here after the body. There is, it's just not an identity, or we're not identified with the story of whoever we are. That doesn't mean that we don't still have an adventure here, that we're not still available to be part of this, and that we can't play, and actually we can be here, even more here, uh, in our adventure of life, because we can be here with wonder. Often we're not here with wonder because we're trying to be careful. We're in the mind, wanting to be careful, wanting to not upset anybody, wanting to, you know, to, be careful with our finances, or be careful. We're just trying to be careful. And so we're not really here, but as you awaken, you realize that we can be here. We can do what we need to or want to. There isn't, nothing's missing. And yeah, and we can love. We are love. We be love. There's no need, so we can love unconditionally. It isn't measured by what somebody else is giving us or not giving us. You know, we can, we're free. So this is what happens as we practice living in the moment. And it isn't from our intellect. It's beyond the intellect. It's an awakening. It really is, that we are so much more than the story of, and the story is okay. I mean, I still have, uh, my story. I mean, I still have children. I was a dad. I've been married a couple of times and had, an amazing journey. Although most of the time, as I was going through it, I was trying to be somebody, and now I don't have to be anybody because I am. Anyway, so that, if you want to ask me, how does that tie into recovery? Totally. The 12 steps of AA lead us to this place of a God consciousness, living on our intuition, being aware, an expanded state of love where we're here. Our commitment is if there is a commitment, is to help others, to be of service, a life of service, a life of love. So it really is that. It's not teaching us just how to be careful or how to not make big mistakes, although that's part of it, because we do learn some great things in the recovery process and from on a day-to-day basis. But we find freedom. So freedom is there. All right, that's enough. Be here now. Practice that. When you walk, just go out for a walk by yourself. No um, headset or anything. Just, be in your feet, conscious walking, and conscious dishwashing, and be present. What is the date? The 20th of April. Okay, there we go, just like that. Do I have glasses? I do. I'm going to put my glasses on and read this for you. This is from this little book called the 24-Hour Day Book. And there we go, get them square. April 20th, thought for the day. Just brought myself back into the moment. Here I am. It's a practice. It really is. It's like, oh, okay, here I am. I have this book in my hand, and I'm really here. In the breath, the satisfaction you get out of living a sober life is made up of a lot of little things, but they add up to a satisfactory and happy life. You take out of life what you put into it. Well, of course. So I say to people coming into the 12-step world, don't worry about life, about what life will be like without drugs or alcohol. Just stick along, and a lot of good things will happen to you. And you'll have that feeling of quiet satisfaction and peace and serenity, guaranteed for the grace of, and gratitude, for the grace of God. Wow, isn't that what we're talking about? And you'll have that feeling of quiet satisfaction and peace and serenity and gratitude for the grace of God. So the grace of God, of course, is what I was just talking about. Be here now. How else can we experience that if we're not here? If we're in our crazy mind, worrying or complaining, right? And then the question is my life becoming really worth living? Of course, it's always been that way. Meditation for the day. There are two paths, one up and one down, he says. We have been given free will. We have been given free will to choose either path. And in my opinion, the one up, if you will, is attained by being present. Be here now. We've been given free will to choose either path. We are the captains of our souls to this extent only. We can choose the good. We can choose the good or the bad. He goes a lot into good and bad. Once you have chosen the wrong path, we go down and down, eventually to death. But if you choose the right path, which, by the way, is the path of presence, the path of love, that can be chosen at any time. It isn't because we've made a choice to go one way doesn't mean that we can't re-choose. Each moment we choose. If we choose the right path, we go up and up until we come to the day of our death. On the wrong path, we have no power for good because we do not choose to ask for it. The right path, We're on the side of good. We're all the power of God's Spirit behind us. So I'm not fond of right and wrong, but I'm really not fond of right and wrong. I believe that choosing to be here now is the the access to the moment, is access to the Spirit, to God, to oneness. You know, and it's very hard to describe, and that's why we have all of these stories around it that help us to kind of find the path. But it's not, once we find it, it's not that difficult. Prayer for the day. I pray that I may be in the stream of goodness. I pray that I may be on the right side, on the side of all good in the universe. He's big on bad and good, but that's, this is written 1954, and some of his stuff is really amazing. And be here now. We're going to do a little meditation, and the whole meditation is going to be just that, a practice of presence. And so if you can stick with me for like literally 3 minutes. We're going to do a 3-minute meditation, maybe 4. But so if you can find yourself like a comfortable spot, and we're going to practice this whole thing of being here now. So close your eyes. We're just going to drop in. One of the ways that I like to share with you and with myself of how to be here now is to be in the body. Who is it that we want to bring into this moment? Our presence into this moment. So the body is our vehicle. We get to live in this body. It's a beautiful vehicle. Just feel it. Feel your legs. Just bring your attention, your focus into your feet, to your calves, into your knees. When our attention is on these parts of our body, into our thighs, we're not thinking about something else. We're really in the body. Bring ourselves to the body, one thought at a time, to our hips, to our bellies, to our lower back, to our middle back, into our shoulders. Bring our attention into our chest, to our breath in our chest. Here we are, right in this body, right here, right now. Nothing else but this moment. Everything else has been left behind. All of our past stories left outside for the moment. In this moment, we are 100% here. In our breath, in our shoulders. Just feel our shoulders relax. In our neck. Just bring our attention, focus into our skull inside. If there are any sounds, we hear them inside there. We expand into those sounds. Whether it's traffic in the distance, it's happening right now. Back into our breath. Here we are, in our bodies, into this moment. Beyond mind, beyond thought. No tomorrow, no next. Only now. Nothing is missing. Everything is for us in this moment. Perfectly free, perfectly complete in this moment. Thank you. Love you so much. You can stay in this space for as long as you like. In the breath, in the now.